You were not supposed to follow him.
I go where I want and I do what I want. My belt match the kicks, Dolce Gabbana.
T to the G, man. Who you think it gonna be? And by popular demand, we back with our topics and Who Is channel. So without wasting any time, let's get straight into it with Who is Hannah Payne, the Vigilante Karen? May 7th, 2019 in Clayton County, Georgia. Hannah Payne would be driving down the road, seemingly without a care in the world, when out of nowhere, another vehicle with 62-year-old Michael Herring at the wheel would cut Hannah off and crash into another vehicle. Kenneth would keep driving after the incident, leaving the scene of the accident. Hannah would follow Kenneth's vehicle and simultaneously dial 911 and report the incident to the dispatcher by saying a drunk driver hit and ran someone. Immediately, the dispatcher would tell her to stop chasing after Michael and the other vehicle because of the dangerous results that could happen, and unfortunately did. Before the officers could get to the scene, Hannah would pull over Kenneth like an officer would and emerge from her vehicle and approach Kenneth. Unbeknownst to Hannah, Kenneth was having a medical issue which was later determined to be diabetic shock and was rushing himself to the hospital. Hannah would scream in order for Michael to exit his vehicle, and Hannah's story of what happened next would be that Kenneth Herring began to act irrational and she immediately began to fear for her life. Kenneth struck her and ripped her shirt and was pulled into his vehicle. In response to feeling threatened and being allegedly beaten would be to remove her weapon and bang. An eyewitness would record Hannah changing her clothes after the incident before the police would arrive, and Hannah's story would be that she was involved in seeing a hit and run and chase Kenneth. Hannah was subsequently arrested on the scene and charged with murder with no malice. She quietly bonded out the same day and was put on ankle monitor and house arrest with a 9 p.m. curfew. But before the trial, was indicted by a grand jury for felony murder, malice murder, aggravated assault, and false imprisonment. 4.5 years later, Hannah's trial began and was covered by every major news outlet in the country. The trial would only last a week's time, but in a shocking twist my channel is known for, Hannah would take the stand in her own defense, leaving the courtroom and millions of Americans watching, including myself, shocked. Hannah's lawyer would try his best to defend her by playing on her innocence and lack of understanding of the whole situation that led to Kenneth's unfortunate passing, while the Clayton County DA would be concise and stick to the facts of the case and would blow it out the water when asking Hannah about the dispatcher's orders.
Me almost up to him. I mean, his radiator is busted and everything. So I honestly have no idea how he's driving the truck the way that it is. So, if you can go back to that location where the incident happened, it's because someone is actually on the way to you guys now. Okay, well, there's a police officer there, but he is drunk. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you I'm not going to follow him because he is going to cause another accident. So I will stay behind him until an officer can get to us, but until then, I'm not moving. Yeah, no, that's what I want. I want you guys to go back to the location where it happened, and an officer will be out there momentarily, okay? Ma'am. Follow him. He hit my car. Okay, you got the tag number. There's a police officer down the street. Tell them to come up here now. He pulled the trigger on my gun after he attacked me. Tell the police officer to...
Hannah would cry and shake during the account of her story to an unmoved and unswayed jury and courtroom. The defense and the DA rested both their cases, and the jury went to deliberate. It would only take 2 hours to come back with a unanimous decision of
guilty. With regard to count 2, as to the offense of felony murder, we the jury find the defendant guilty. With regard to count 3, as to the offense of aggravated assault, we the jury find the defendant guilty. With regard to count 4, as the offense of felony murder, we the jury find the defendant guilty.
On all 4 counts weighed against Hannah, where she would cry openly and loudly while the bailiffs handcuffed her and escorted her to a jail cell. She will be sentenced this Friday, and it doesn't look good. Now, this is a horrible story all the way around, but I'm going to start at the beginning. Hannah obviously shouldn't have chased Kenneth whatsoever after the scene of a hit-and-run accident, no matter what the details were about it. The dispatcher told you 4 different times to go back to the original scene, and you told them no, even after you already gave them the license plate number of Kenneth's vehicle. But I want to talk about the entitlement of an 18-year-old white woman who can approach a 62-year-old African-American male and feel justified to bark orders with full justification that he needs to respond to your orders while you're screaming and acting irate to him. It is 2023. Road rage isn't the same as it was back in the 2000s. Everyone has a weapon nowadays, and Kenneth could have been in fear of his own safety. But unfortunately, it was worse than that. He was already in diabetic shock, trying to save his own life by taking himself to the hospital. Hannah bonded out immediately, which is her right, and had to stay home for 4 years with an ankle monitor and a 9 p.m. curfew, while Kenneth's family was left to grieve for 4 years and wait for the day of the trial. The trial itself was very sad, and I thought she was actually going to beat the case just on privilege alone. But then I saw the demeanor of the courtroom and the jurors, and I can tell that not one person there even thought she was even innocent. I feel she's guilty, the jury found her guilty, and I feel she deserves the max penalty for everything she was charged with in this case. And the worst part is, 2 people lost their lives for the assumptions, entitlement of a vigilante Karen. The crazy part about this case is the judge could be lenient and give her half the time for everything she's been convicted of, and she would still spend the rest of her life behind bars. Damn. But I mean T to the G, man. Who you think it gonna be? Like, comment, share, subscribe, run me up, man. And I'll be back with another one soon. Go!